And what is going on, everybody? Episode 80, episode 80 of the We Are Family Pittsburgh Sports podcast. This guy over here falling asleep on me. It's been 5 seconds.
What? Where am I? Where am I? What? What is this? Who?
John Cena. This is a John Cena moment. Why is there's no one there? I don't see you. I don't see you. You're not there.
Yeah, we can barely hear your ass right now. That,
right,
you're gonna have to do some post edits, my boy.
We went
your
over. We
shitty
discussed
ass
this.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I understand.
Wow.
Wow.
I'll go off the rails.
That's, this is a lot of talking for a guy that was banned from the podcast last week.
That's why I'm asleep. I'm trying to wake up. Like what? I'm trying to figure out. Like, I've been asleep. I've been in hibernation.
Okay. I don't know where to go from there. So yeah, that's the big news today, that Pirate Peyton has awoken from his hibernation. He's actually back from his banning. As you all know, we banned him from the podcast last week for his terrible prediction about the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Milwaukee Brewers. And he's back here to make more terrible predictions and be banned potentially more frequently on this podcast. So, welcome back, Peyton Celesti. Thank you for being here. Thank you for waking up, apparently, out of your hibernation.
Yes. Well, it was a
and
ban, and as I banned, I was in hibernation, recollecting my thoughts and, doing some soul searching. But I think now we're going to actually ban you from the podcast, because I don't think you can continue as the host because of how bad your audio is right now.
That's not a reason to be banned.
We can talk about that in a little bit here, but I do want to address
great
the
audio.
banning.
The audio is going to sound great when the people watch this. Okay, so
we'll see. We shall see.
You're just speaking into existence here.
So I do want to address it. Andrew, so you guys didn't mention this in the last episode. The reason this all started was Andrew Filipponi, who's the king of predictions, as we all know, said that the Pirates were going to sweep the Brewers. And I said to the guys in the group chat here, I said, if the Pirates sweep the Brewers, you can ban me from the podcast. And as Nate said last episode, I'm a man of my word. They somehow swept the Brewers after 20 games of just mediocrity, of being a game over, a game under. And after a 3-3 road trip here, that's the difference in their season right now, of having their heads above water and being at almost below water at 500. So that was a huge series. Another great before the All-Star game moment for the Pirates. Similar to what they did to the Brewers in 2018, but of course we know how that season ended. So hopefully things are a little different this time. But I did the ban. I took it like a man. That rhymed. And we're back. We're ready to go.
Are you
thank
ready?
You guys
You're
for
looking
lifting
a
the
little
ban.
tired. Little.
I am. I mean, when we're messing with your audio for 50 minutes and it's still
That's
not working,
an
it's a little exhausting.
Okay. I don't have anything to say to that. I'm just rolling with the punches here. Jake Bell, do you have anything to say to this individual as he is now back on the podcast?
No, just welcome back. I'm glad that we didn't fight about Henry Davis. That's good.
We may fight about Henry Davis.
Might.
I mean, we kind of do fight a little bit about it. We haven't gone into a big fight about it.
No, because I also understand that Henry Davis isn't.
There isn't much to defend.
Right. I just like Henry Davis. That's
I know.
More of what,
that's okay.
So yeah. So we agree, and yeah. No, I have nothing to say though. So I'm good to go.
All right. Well, we're gonna get right into it then, and talk about the Pittsburgh Pirates, who just before we got on here made a stunning move, as they say. It really wasn't stunning at all. It was a acquisition of Marinaccio, whose last name sounds better than he's ever pitched.
One of the great. name.
Well, that's up
It
for
is.
debate. But the Pirates acquire him in a steal from the Padres for international bonus pool consideration.
$500,000. That's not cheap
100,000.
for
Wow.
us.
That's factored into the payroll. That's 100,000.
Well, it's international
less we
pool
can bring
money,
in.
so I mean, it's it's like whatever.
But the corresponding move to that is that the Pirates designated Dennis Santana for assignment, an admission of absolute failure by this general manager for what we've talked about extensively over the past almost year now, with the lack of a trade of Dennis Santana at the trade deadline, instead making a horrific trade with the Yankees with David Bednar, and how that ended up really costing the Pirates in 2026. Less than a year later, the Pirates have to cut ties with Santana because he's been so horrendous, and it's rather fitting that the final appearance of his Pirates tenure is marred by him trying to start a fight with little Jose Caballero over literally nothing. It was a complete nothing thing, and that became a pattern almost with his attempted punch of a fan in Detroit.
He connected, didn't he? Didn't he connect on that
He
punch?
might have.
I'm almost certain he
I
did.
don't watch that clip anymore. I don't even want to see it. But yeah, Santana, who has been really poor this season, he's had a couple moments where he's had 4 scoreless appearances, and then he gets absolutely rocked the next 2 appearances or 3, and it's just been a lost season for him. And I think the Pirates probably had enough of him after that appearance again. I don't know, but after that appearance against the Yankees, where it's like you have a 5.90 ERA and you're trying to fight, Jose Caballero.
Something. It's in the 6s.
It's in the 6s now. Well, what a surprise! But yeah, even more so, where you have no room to start fights for no reason, and so that was just like I said, a fitting kind of end to his Pirates tenure. He's been DFA'd. DFA, we've been calling for DFAs. I was calling for DFAs, actually. Was that yesterday? Yeah, yesterday, but that was of some hitters if they didn't come through with runners in scoring position. But we got some a DFA of a different kind here. And we were talking about, a lot of people were speculating, will the Pirates DFA Santana, or will they keep him around for no reason, or just hope that he could find his form of the last couple seasons. But they end up DFAing him. They bring in Marinaccio. I don't think Marinaccio is a front-of-the-line bullpen guy. Obviously, the Padres got rid of him, and they have an elite bullpen.
Is he better than Brandon Eisert?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's there is no pitcher in baseball worse than Brandon Eisert. There's literally no pitcher worse. I mean, I don't think I'm being hyperbolic. He has a 6.70 ERA, 6.7 ERA, which is not supposed to happen in Major League Baseball. And so he's a disaster. This is I'm going off the rails 8 minutes into the podcast, but
This is gonna be so funny with the audio. If it is what it is right now. Oh my gosh.
anyway,
We're on fire today, buddy.
yeah, there's a lot of terrible things happening today for me. But anyway, what do you guys think of this here? What do we think of Marinaccio, of Dennis Santana letting him go? What do we think of Brandon Eisert? And what do we think of my terrible start to this podcast?
Since I was banned, and I'm trying to come back on a positive note here, and I'm going to be very curious. I'm going to let Jake Bell go first because I feel like he never goes first enough, to be honest.
Thank you. Oh, I would have been good either way, but I appreciate your kindness. For Marinaccio, I think it's definitely an interesting ad. I mean, obviously he's DFA'd. You don't want to get to the point where grabbing guys that are DFA'd, but he has an interesting pedigree. He has a 3.50 ERA in his career in over 140-some games. He's currently in his worst season, but he's finished, a dozen games for the Padres. He's someone that they've at least somewhat relied on late in innings, at least, depending on the score of the game, if they're not in a save situation, stuff like that. But definitely interesting. He strikes a decent amount of guys. Actually, this year is his lowest strikeout rate, I believe, of his career. So obviously, I'm trying to hype him up, but there's a lot of career lows going on, which is why he was DFA'd. But definitely someone you want to take a flyer on, because obviously he's better than what Dennis Santana has been. Like you mentioned, Eisert. He's been much better than Eisert. So I'm definitely in favor of at least seeing what he can do before the trade deadline, just to see if, maybe he does really well. And I mean, obviously, I still want them to add 3 relievers. Don't get me wrong. But maybe he at least gives you someone that you can somewhat rely on. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, he pitched the best in his career with the Yankees, and we know how righties, sometimes maybe they can struggle against the lefties at Yankee Stadium because of the short porch. So maybe that's a little bit of a good thing. I don't know. We'll see. But definitely someone I'm willing to take a risk on at this point in the year when you need bullpen help. You need someone to just emerge as a reliable option to a degree. But as for Dennis Santana, yeah, I mean, it just had to happen. And honestly, like, I'm not going to give Cherington credit, but I'm glad that he was willing to cut the loss whenever he did, because he could have been stubborn and just kept him through the trade deadline, and just they still believe that he's going to come back to form. But the biggest issue with Santana this year really has been the mistake pitches on 2 strike counts, and it just is the reason why he'll get blown up, because he'll go through those, like you mentioned, those stints where he does very well, doesn't give up earned runs for, a good couple games in a row. Then he'll get into a point where there's runners on first and second, 0-2 count against a lefty, and he throws a fastball right down the middle. I remember playing baseball whenever I was, younger, and there was only 2 instances where I ever got a fastball down the middle on an 0-2 count. And I hit a double on both of those, and the coaches were mad on the other team. Dennis Santana has done that probably at least a dozen times.
And his fastball hasn't played this year. That's been the issue. His slider has gotten better.
Yeah.
We've seen some at-bats where, oh, that was pretty filthy. But yet, his fastball it's a sitting duck. It has nothing on it. Guys have completely adjusted to it.
Absolutely. And it's a bigger reason why you can't hang that pitch. I mean, bless you. If you use that fastball, you have to paint the corners, right? I mean, you have to make it to where maybe a lefty can roll over on an outside pitch. Maybe you can jam, something along those lines. You cannot leave it down the middle. That is just asking to be destroyed into the stands. I mean, it's a shame. And I like Santana. He's someone that emerged as a reliable bullpen arm, and it just didn't seem that he would be that way, because it just felt like, he was just another waiver claim that Cherington is just trying to see if he'll work, and he ended up being a very reliable arm. But it's just time to cut your losses. And with the whole Brandon Eisert thing, yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say.
We'll get into that. That's a separate topic.
Yeah. So I'll keep that. It's just, yeah. But either way, I mean, Dennis Santana, he had to be a DFA. That's just what. I mean, he's actually somehow statistically been worse than Justin Lawrence. Justin Lawrence had a much shorter leash, or not a short leash in terms of what we wanted, but in comparison to Santana, it was a shorter leash. So.
Yeah, so I wasn't necessarily. I mean, there have been a lot of people that have been on the DFA Santana train for a while. Obviously, because we saw some improvement in June, right? And then he came in to 2 different Atlanta games, blew those games. Then he comes in to the Cleveland game, the second Cleveland game, blows that game, just absolutely getting torched around. They got that play at the plate, they got the runner out, and then Santana ends up giving up a 2-run homer anyway to Travis Bazzana, who I just got his Columbus Clippers t-shirt, actually, when I was in Columbus a couple weeks ago. But so it was just outing after outing of just heartbreaking and critical moments for Dennis Santana, where he was put in these positions that were important for the team, and he just couldn't come through. And it just added on top of what was already a difficult season for him. And after the Cleveland game, it's just I'm thinking to myself, how much more can this guy take, and how much more damage can he do in a Pirates uniform, where like they can just keep throwing him out there, because I mean it's just like it was just that bad. And like I said, we saw improvement with his slider, but his fastball just has nothing to it. And most major league pitchers have to have something on their fastball, have to have some sort of advantage with their fastball, and he just doesn't right now. And this bullpen needs new blood. You need to open roster spots for new blood, and that's exactly what they did. Now, I also think, so that Cleveland game, I was kind of like, yeah, he kind of needs to go. But then what happened on Monday, it became to the point where, like, after that whole incident with Jose Caballero and what he said after the game, it was just like, this guy is not only cancerous in his own mind right now, but his whole attitude of frustration is not only affecting the whole team, probably, but it's affecting the rest of the bullpen. When you have that kind of negative energy and that kind of frustration on yourself, it affects everybody else around you. Because the fact that he was making the excuses of, well, even the greats, even Pedro Martinez and Barry Bonds had down seasons. Like, all that does is show that you're just incredibly frustrated and you need to completely have a reset in your mind. And that is not going to happen in the middle of the season on this Pirates team. And the Pirates can't afford to have to deal with that kind of mindset, and they don't have time to deal with trying to get him fixed in that mindset and with his overall performance. So once he said that, I think that was the last straw. I think that obviously he was negatively affecting the clubhouse, or at least negatively affecting the perception in the media of the team. And, and other players see that, right? Other players see what you say in the media, and that can affect what your teammates think about you, what your coaches think about you, and ultimately what the general manager thinks about you. And I do agree with what Jake Bell said. You have to give Sherrington credit, because my thinking was they're never going to DFA Santana, because then they'll admit to the mistake that they made, which was not getting value for Santana last year and cutting ties with Bednar and getting a horrible return. And we all knew that was a mistake, but we never thought Dennis Santana would be this bad, that's for sure. We didn't think that, he'd be off the team by July. And obviously, that's a really bad look for the Pirates, and for Ben Sherrington. But you can't be stubborn and say, well, we committed to this, we have to see it through. Like, you're at the point, year 7, you're trying to make the playoffs, you have to cut your losses and move on. And I think after what happened on Monday, I think it was absolutely the right decision. So.
Yeah, no, I'll give credit to a certain extent, but
it certainly makes you look a lot worse, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah.
Because you've come to the point, like, this guy is just not fixable. And I think it's not even from a physical standpoint, it's from a mental standpoint, based on what he's saying and his actions on the field. I mean, you can't just completely throw a fit like that for absolutely no reason. Like, that was just unbelievable.
Yeah, and again, to your point about admitting you're not going to be able to fix kind of his issues, I mentioned this late last month or early this month when we were talking about Paul Skeens' struggles with Bill Murphy. And I'm not trying to hammer Bill Murphy today. It seems like every episode I do, but I'm not trying to do that. But I mentioned an opportunity for him with some of these guys to show his worth as pitching coach and show why he was brought in after a incredibly successful pitching season last season for the Pirates. Right? I feel like there's a lot of pressure that comes with that when you're brought in as hitting coach and the pitching was so good last season. We thought it wasn't going to skip a beat for we knew the bullpen. We were saying it. This bullpen needs extra, and even after they brought in Soto, we were saying that. But we didn't expect the Pirates to give up the 7th most runs in baseball 102 games or 103 games into the season, right? And so for Bill Murphy, I think a lot of this, and I think he's shown well with Bubba Chandler improving throughout this season, and hopefully Mitch Keller, that start against New York was a sign of better things to come. But a lot of that was just Mitch Keller looked a lot sharper. It will be interesting to see, like, can Bill Murphy turn around some of these pitchers like Matson? I think Matson has shown better recently as well. Can there be some cases of guys
Did he
improving
even pitch
throughout
in
the
his last
season?
series? He didn't even pitch in
In
his
garbage
last
time, I think. Maybe.
I don't know if he pitched
Or garbage
on
innings,
Sunday against Cleveland.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
But it was 7-1 at that point, I think, or I don't even know. But yeah, people were asking like, what to Don Kelly, why didn't you go to Isaac Matson instead of Brandon Eisert in that spot? And maybe this is a good transition to Eisert and that whole conundrum and decision-making error, lapse in judgment of Wednesday's second game of the doubleheader. But Kelly wanted to go to Eisert because he was the lefty, right? And they used Soto in game 1, and they had 2 lefties coming up. But my thing is, and we all know this, he can't get lefties out either. He can't get anybody out. It doesn't
he
matter.
walks them.
Yeah.
He walks the. Yeah, he's running.
He walks them.
I tell you what, he is. I was when that trade happened. I was trying to look on the bright side. I was his underlying numbers show he's a slightly below average reliever. No, he's terrible, and he should never be brought in a high leverage situation. I
Never.
mean,
Never.
knew the White Sox never had him in a high leverage situation. You knew when we acquired him, I was like, well, he's going to be somebody they bring in blowouts to finish the games off. And then I see in the 6th inning, Brandon Eisert's warming in the bullpen. Wait, hold on. It's 0-0. It's a scoreless tie. How do you break that tie? You bring in Brandon Eisert. Like that's literally. I don't. We were talking about this. It's like they were trying to lose that game.
I was going nuts last night. I couldn't believe what I was witnessing.
I know. I was going crazy. And it's not so much. Like, I can understand the decision to pull Chandler. Okay, maybe 10 days of rest.
I don't understand it.
I know. I disagree with it. But Kelly was like, and Chandler said post game. He said he was tiring a little bit, but he said. But I think that's just appeasing the manager, like trying to cover for that. And also, he said, I wanted to finish the 7th. It's not like he gave off a leadoff like hard hit out or something, line drive right at somebody. It was a shallow fly ball.
He was cruising, best start of his career.
And plus,
no
also
doubt.
look at this too. They pitch Johan Santana like 2 innings every single time he comes out. They had Chandler finish the 7th, and then have Johan Ramirez. Or did I say Johan Santana?
Yeah.
I did, I'm sorry. Johan Ramirez. I'm thinking Dennis Santana.
Right.
Johan Ramirez. They pitch him 2 innings every time he's out there anyway. Have Chandler finish the 7th, then you have Ramirez out the last 2 innings. That's probably what that happened anyway. And that would have been a much better decision because Ramirez has had the best ERA in that bullpen the whole
And do you not want to go to your best relievers in close games? Is that, to me, it's not something they comprehend.
And also, like, Kelly's the type of guy that, like, at least last year he was, where it was now or never whenever making bullpen decisions. Never did. I say this probably 1,000
Yeah,
times.
because he's trying to win a job.
Right.
And now this year, I don't know what's happened.
Yeah, because like last year's Don Kelly would have put Johan Ramirez in right away, saying, "Hey, we need to keep this game scoreless. We can't worry about the 9th right now. We need to keep this scoreless right now. Let our hitting do our thing, and then we don't have to worry about being down 2-0 going into the 9th." You know what I mean? It's just I feel like he just wanted Eisert in there because he wanted Ramirez to close out the game. Well, you didn't get to that point. The game was broken open. The offense couldn't do anything all game. So now you don't pitch Ramirez in a situation you need. And, yeah, it just felt like a waste.
Okay. There's so much to in my brain that it's just hard to process. I mean, it's easy. It's so unbelievable and so stunning and so incredibly stupid what transpired. But it just and so many thoughts are in my brain about it, and because it's not only about what happened last night. This is the kind of, and this might have been the worst that we've seen in terms of bullpen management, but this is the kind of stuff that's been going on all year. The need to go to the bullpen earlier than you have to. That has constantly been an issue for Don Kelly, and has constantly cost this team. That's
Rich
number
Keller,
one.
In game one, it happened twice yesterday.
I'm going to get to that.
Yeah.
Number two, okay, the organ, and this is where I think Ben Cherington has his dirty little hands on things, okay? And I want to say, if Ben Cherington has his hands over it, like some of us think he does, Don Kelly still deserves blame, because at the same time, he is the manager of this team, and he can do what he wants. You know what I mean? And, I mean, Ben Sherrington's not going to fire, like, you have to get the owner to fire the, like, Don Kelly doesn't necessarily have to go along with what everything Ben Sherrington says. Like, however it's happening, whether it's Ben Sherrington's ideas or Don Kelly's ideas, I don't really care. They're both at fault for it. Don Kelly deserves blame. Okay? So I want to make that clear, and I know Nate will talk about that more. But I forget where I was going with this, but, you know, the issue is, and so that was my point, whether it's Sherrington or Kelly, however you look at it, whoever you think deserves more blame, it's an organizational philosophy of, and it goes for young relievers and young starters, of this, we have to baby every single young arm in our organization. Like, what they're doing with Jared Jones is kind of understandable. But I made this analogy a couple episodes. When they're trying to perfectly do these guys rehab and slowly build them. But like the slower you do it, like by the time they get to their max, they're not prepared for it. They're not prepared. Like they baby it too much to the point where, you know, you're trying to build a Lamborghini, but the Lamborghini hasn't been through anything. It hasn't been through the terrain of the road and the mountains or whatever, right? It's not built tough like a Ford, you know, or a Chevy, right? They're so afraid to push the limit with these guys and protect assets. And it's like, at what point, and I've said this multiple times on over many different instances, at what point does winning become the priority? Don Kelly said with Jared Jones' perfect game a couple of weeks ago that health mattered most and that winning was second. And that can't be the case at this point. That can't be the case. If a guy is going well and he's not showing any signs of fatigue, which Don Kelly said last night, Bubba wasn't showing any signs of fatigue, there is no reason to take him out. There's none. And at what point do you get with these young arms and manage them in a way that you're trying to win right now? Because first of all, they're not going to be young forever, and second of all, this babying of the young arms, and we need to slowly build them, and we don't want their pitch count to get too high, etc., etc. These guys end up getting hurt anyway. Okay, it doesn't matter. It's proven. These guys always get hurt. You have to go for things now. And it just brings me back to my main question, which is, when is winning the priority? And then when it comes to Brandon Eisert, I mean, the fact that they're forcing him into these situations, to me, seems like, this was Ben Sherrington got him in a trade, so now we have to force the issue with putting him in these situations. Like, Brandon Eisert, I'm not even mad at Brandon Eisert. I'm just mad at why the fact that they have to force feed the issue of using him in these situations when you don't have to. He can be a lower leverage guy or simply a matchup based option. Like he doesn't have to come into these situations, especially when your starter is cruising and he has 84 pitches and he's not showing any signs of fatigue, as Don Kelly said. So I just think the organizational philosophy with these young starters and young relievers. I mean, they baby Montgomery too. I mean, it's just when does winning matter more than, oh, we have to protect our assets? Because at some point your assets have to win you baseball games and have to win you playoff games and have to win you championships before they ultimately get hurt or get traded, especially when you're a small market club. So I don't know if I explained the whole babying their arms thing, but the slowly building, I think, is in the protecting of the pitch count is overdone in this organization. Now, I'm sure the Pirates aren't the only organization, but like look at what the Yankees did last night. This is something the Pirates would never do. Will Warren, who has been in their rotation all year, they skip his start because they want Max Fried to pitch. Will Warren was supposed to start, but they keep him available. I don't really understand why they brought him in to close. I mean, I think Bednar probably could have pitched a second game. He's pitched back-to-back doubleheaders before, but they brought him in because they thought that they didn't care about, well, he's a starter and he shouldn't be a reliever, and we don't want to get him hurt. All that nonsense. They didn't care about that. And Will Warren's a relatively younger pitcher. They brought him in the ninth inning. They didn't care how much he was a starter or how much he was a reliever. They brought him in because they thought he gave them the best chance to close out that game. Now, ultimately, they took him out. But my point is, the Yankees, they do what they need to do to win each and every game. And I can't say the same about the Pittsburgh Pirates. I just can't.
And also, like, if we look at, whenever Eisert was brought in, like, was Soto really not available? Like, obviously, I know he's shaky, but at the same time, he's a much more reliable option.
He didn't throw that many pitches, did he?
No.
It was like
I remember him pitching against I don't even think he pitched against the Guardians either. So it's not like he's been overworked.
Yeah.
And they could have had Soto in then in the seventh and then have Ramirez close it out. If they were really worried about this whole lefty matchup, which I don't understand. If a reliever's good...
That's another organizational philosophy that's an issue. The left-on-lefts. I mean, in some situations it makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's not something you should automatically go to. It's like that this thing came out about AI. The teams relying on the Mets relying on AI. That's what this seems like. They're just relying on what the computer tells them, and there's no feel or thinking behind it at all.
Yeah. I mean, the Pirates don't, other than at times Mason Montgomery, they don't have a single lefty where you're like, oh yeah, these lefties are just going to be absolutely awful against this guy. This is a matchup in heaven for us. No, that's not the case. You just have to go with who your best guys are, because even if it's a righty going against a lefty, they might have a 198 opposing batting average. Like, that's much better than what you have going on with Eisert, who walks a ton of guys, and then it just all of a sudden just implodes on him. I mean, you can't... I'm so against, like... I sound like I'm Billy Bean right now. I don't even care. Like, I don't care about righty or lefty matchups for the most part, unless the lefty is, like, 20-25 Spencer Horwitz bad against lefties. I don't care. Like, if they're hitting 200...
Cody Bellinger and Jazz Chisholm have been there, done that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure they're both worse against lefties. But
Bellinger plays every day.
Does it really matter that much?
No, if you throw a fastball right down the middle, it doesn't matter what side of what arm you're throwing with. Yeah. It doesn't matter what arm you're throwing with if you're throwing an 89-mile-per-hour fastball right down the middle. It really doesn't. To a professional hitter, like, that's seeing the fastest velocity or mile per hour from pitchers of all time right now, where fastball speeds are going at an all-time high. They're going to spit on an 89-mile-per-hour fastball. It doesn't matter if a lefty's throwing it. So,
and I want to. So going back to what Nate said about Mitch Keller, I also didn't like what. Now we won the game, so nobody talks about it. But
They
in the moment, and I still stand by it. they should not have taken they should not have taken Mitch Keller out of this game. I mean, he's having arguably the best start of the year, maybe, for him. I mean, in April and May, he was really good, but those games have blown from my memory. So this feels like the best start of the year for Mitch Keller. He's at 75 pitches. He's the guy, especially, which makes it even more weird. He's not a young arm. He's a guy who's been a workhorse. He never gets hurt. Why wouldn't you? You're paying him $15, $16, $17 million a year, whatever it is. He's finally putting it together. His fastball usage was up much more, and his fastball was actually playing, which was huge yesterday. And I think what we've seen from the starters so far, except for Braxton Ashcraft, and when he's been the best starter, of course. Outside of that, like this second half, the starting pitching has been very encouraging. But going back to what I was saying, Mitch Keller has 75 pitches. You're paying him a decent amount of money to do what he did in that game. And instead, you go to Carmen Mlodzinski, who, hey, at least it was a high leverage situation. But in a doubleheader, if you're going to use him, right, use him, because they only throw him 3 innings. Like, that seems to be the thing. He can only throw 3 innings. So, if you're going to use him 3 innings, have Keller go out for a 6th. Hopefully he doesn't get into trouble. Either way, then you bring in Mlodzinski to hopefully finish out the game. Now, he ended up giving up a 3-run homer, so maybe he wouldn't have finished out the game anyway. But you wouldn't have had to bring in the rest of your bullpen in the 8th. Montgomery throws an inning in the 3rd, then Soto has an inning in the 10th. And then, so that's 3 guys on a bad bullpen. That you used 3 of your best guys in game 1. That you didn't necessarily have to use all 3 of them if you let Mitch Keller go a 6th inning. He could have gone 7 innings the way he was pitching. Now he got into some trouble, but like they weren't hitting him hard. Like he had a couple walks. Like that was it. Like he gave up 2 hits. And I don't understand that decision. That's even more mind-boggling than Chandler, because Mitch Keller's not a young arm. There's no reason to protect his arm and say we need to take him out after 75 pitches. Like that just really didn't make any sense. And it just feels like, in terms of with Carmen Mlodzinski specifically, like it's like to me, Carmen Mlodzinski somehow is still holding them hostage about when he pitches, where he can pitch, what situation, etc., etc. Oh, I want to come in the 6th inning. Like that's the only thing I can think of. Like this, maybe he doesn't want to be in the 9th inning. Like, and Carmen Mlodzinski overall has been excellent, but like, if he's holding this front office hostage, like, he should be on the trade block for guys who will throw 1 to 2 innings instead of, this bulk every 4 days. It's just, I don't even. I feel like I was missing a point, but I'll let you guys pick it up from here.
Yeah, a lot to unpack there, and the Mitch. I want to talk about the shortened starts and not putting your guys in long enough. Like you mentioned with Mitch Keller, he's the workhorse guy. Like we said, I don't remember him going 5 innings like much at all. Even when he against Washington, didn't he go 6 or 7 innings and he gave up like 5 runs. Like, even when he's not doing well, they pitch him more innings. Like with Mitch Keller, he's the one guy that the Pirates have not been reluctant at all to pull early, or to keep in. I mean,
even during the shutdown days too.
And because of that, because they took him out and forced them to get into a bullpen game with the Yankees, and they were very lucky and fortunate to come out on top.
Yeah, and
you made 3 guys unavailable for game 2, and then because you pitched Montgomery and Soto, when Mlodzinski could have pitched 7th, 8th, and 9th had you put Keller in, right? Because they wanted to bring in a lefty and take Bubba out early, they had to bring in Brandon Eisert because they didn't want to use Montgomery or Soto again. So in a way, that Mitch Keller, even though they won that game, that Mitch Keller decision backfired in a way. Although you shouldn't have brought in Brandon Eisert either way.
But yeah, and to your point, obviously you go to either of them if they're available 10 out of 10 times over Brandon Eisert. But again, you got an out in the seventh inning too. It probably would have been just 2/3 of an inning from a Montgomery or from a Soto, who Montgomery didn't throw too many pitches, but I think he was pitched in multiple innings, if I remember. But
he pitched
Soto
inning in the third, yeah.
Yeah, but Soto pitched 13, 14 pitches and a very clean inning in that 10th inning, and you could have put him in for 2 outs. I think, but again, they don't think that they wouldn't do it. First of all, they wouldn't even think about it. That wouldn't even, like the Will Warren thing.
Because they want to wait until the 9th to maybe use Soto whenever that never happened because they were losing.
Yeah, but and again, like I'm not gonna be too critical of just this entire situation. I mean, I could be go really crazy because the Pirates didn't score any runs. Like they weren't gonna win that game anyway. If it went
But a 0-0 game in the 9th inning, who knows what happens if you get it to extras?
Yeah, but it's just like with this bullpen, it feels like one way or another they're gonna give up runs, and like if it doesn't happen in the 7th, who knows? But it is interesting. Carmen Majinski, who has been really, really good. I don't know if he gave up like 2 runs since he's been in the bullpen before Wednesday, something like that crazy. Whenever he's the one guy for me, other than Eisert, but that's just because it was more of the situation, him being in, where when he's brought in and he gives up runs, I go berserk, like because of the whole situation and everything. And I mean, it was just crazy when we talk about the walk by Eisert. Majinski walks Austin Wells on a 3-2 splitter to Austin Wells with the runner already on base with the top of the order coming up. Not only that,
he got on 3 times. He's worse than Henry Davis this year. He got on base 3 times in that game.
Yeah. And not only that, you go 3-0 on Ben Rice, and you get the 3-2. I thought they were just going to walk him, too.
I think it was 3-1, but yeah.
Or 3-1, yeah. And you throw not only right down the middle, it was 93. It was not even his... he gives 96, 97. I mean, that was absolutely destroyed. Every time Majinski gives up runs, like that's what he's Charmin. He becomes Charmin, like we've been talking about. And he's not Carmen Majinski, but I was driving home, and Joe Block's like, and there's a drive to right by Ben Rice, and that's gone. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. And then they're talking about 3-2 fastball right down the middle. I'm just going insane. My drive home was not pleasant yesterday, I'll tell you that. But they end up winning the game, obviously. But it's just the overarching point. This bullpen needs significant work. We'll see what Marinaccio can do. Maybe bring some good Italian vibes to the clubhouse, to this bullpen.
I have no opinion on him. Yeah. I really don't.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a legit... I mean, if they think that Brandon Eisert and Ron Marinaccio are at least combined for at least one good reliever, if they think that will contribute to at least a total of one good arm in the bullpen, they're delusional. You have to go out and get 2 legitimate bullpen arms.
We reshaped our bullpen. We brought in multiple guys. We brought multiple guys into this bullpen.
That doesn't count. That does not count. And they may think that does.
Yeah.
I mean, Ben Sherrington, once again, he went to his classic line. I don't know. I think this was this past Sunday on his radio show. He said, we got to have growth from within, too. Nobody wants to hear that. Stop saying that.
We've had enough growth. Week.
We've had enough growth from within. It's time for you to do your job.
Yeah. That's not shocking at all that he said that. That's the least shocking thing, because he says it every week.
When does winning become the priority, man? When does that happen? I'm waiting. My whole life, I'm waiting.
We're eagerly waiting. And
I mean,
I
is this
think
going to be the first team to have a plus 70, 80, plus 80 run differential and not make the playoffs? I mean, they're 5th in the league in run differential, and yet they're only 3 games over 500. Like, people have to, like, that's not acceptable. You should be at least where the Phillies are right now, and at least 8 or 9 games over 500. The Phillies have a negative 15 run differential, guys, and they're still winning baseball games. Like, if you look at that Phillies team, they're doing it. Because they have an elite closer. We don't have that. Their starting pitching is elite. It's better than the Pirates' starting pitching, though, is something to be positive about this past week. But but their lineup isn't as good as ours either. Let's be honest about the Phillies. Now they beat us around because they always beat us around. But they have 2 great hitters. They have one guy who's overachieving in Brandon Marsh. The rest of it is not good. Not good at all. So there's no reason why we shouldn't be the first or second wild card.
Right.
By the end of the year.
Absolutely.
But it's going to be a fight to win 83 games, 84 games, and become this third wild card and have to go to Atlanta and try and beat them. Or Philly, if Philly were to win the division, Yeah. So that's where we're at.
Yeah. It's a big series a big homestand, really, against Chicago and Arizona. I know we're going to get into an update on the playoff picture here in a little bit, because we got to talk about what Arizona's doing. They crushed the Cardinals today. Although I saw the Cardinals came back.
The Cardinals. I think it's the Cardinals.
They're starting to catch up.
I think it's coming to a crash and burn here. You blew a 7-0 lead to Arizona on the road, actually. So they're playing Arizona again. You blew a 7-0 lead. You lose 2 out of 3 to the awful Angels. Awful. Barely won that last game. Won 1-0.
Yeah.
And then you lose 8-3
today.
I mean, I think this team. There's just the underlying metrics, the starting pitching, the bullpen. It's just not good enough. And even if they add at the trade deadline, I don't think it's gonna, And I mean, Washington and San Diego are still hanging around, but we know the deficiencies with those teams. I mean, we've talked about that. Yeah.
But it's a big homestand. The Cubs in Arizona, and the Pirates kind of structured this second half rotation to be Jones. It was going to be Jones, Ashcraft, Skeens. It's going to be Jones, Skeens, and Ashcraft going against Chicago this weekend. Matt Boyd, Imanaga, and Jamison Tyone. And it's something where, to your point, Peyton, the Pirates absolutely should be where the Cubs are at right now. I mean, the Cubs have been a roller coaster by any definition of a roller coaster, right, with the multiple 10-game winning streaks and 10-game losing streak. And now they've really righted the ship, but it's a team that's had so many injuries to their starting rotation. This has to be at least 2 out of 3 against the Cubs. Okay, I know
especially
they're going to
with Tyone pitching, where you should feast on him. But it seems like
we're going to
He's put up so many overs this season.
Yeah,
we're going to see against more lefties. There's been a bunch of lefties starters against the Pirates. They've started to win a few series against lefties. Max Fried is just a different breed. But they've been a little better. Now, they've played some terrible lefties recently coming out of the All-Star break. But we will see how they do against the Matt Boyd. I think Imanaga always shuts the Pirates down. Maybe it's a different
that'll be a
offense
loss.
this
When
year.
do we face him?
That's Saturday against Skeens. So Skeens,
We'll
it might
lose
be
that game.
Yeah, but that has to be a 2 out of 3. And then Arizona coming in, the Pirates have no right to lose that series to Arizona either. With Arizona's starting pitching, actually Arizona.
There's 2 good. I mean, they're 2 good teams. I mean,
But
with how this team, look, the Pirates on paper are better than a lot of these teams. But the reason they're 3 games under 500, or only 3 games over 500, is because of how this team is being managed. And I mean that from Kelly's perspective and Sherrington's perspective. And so, on paper, this team should be a glue-in for the playoffs. And if they're not, there's only 2 people to blame. And that's Don Kelly and that's Ben
Brandon
Sherrington.
Eisert.
Yeah, we'll throw them in there.
One of the games.
But I mean, you know, the Pirates, you can't be as good as you are offensively and have the talent you have with the starting pitching. If you don't, my point is, if you don't make it this year, when we talk about the deficiencies of some of these teams in the wild card race that the Pirates are clearly better than on paper, if you don't make it this year and the management screws it up once again, like, there's no hope. I'm sorry, but there's no hope. You have to at least make it in. That and I've been the reason I've been pessimistic, obviously, about them making is because of management. But I was like, I don't know if the product on the field is good enough. But the way this offense has performed, without Spencer Horwitz, without Oneil Cruz, without
Connor Griffin for a while.
Connor Griffin, without Endy Rodriguez, and how this starting pitch, the potential with this starting pitching, and I think they're turning a corner here, right? Like, I've over the last month or so, I've kind of realized that, like, this team has, like, this is a playoff team on paper with how they've played as a whole, and the only thing that's holding them back is this bullpen and how it's being managed. That's what's holding them back, period. We can talk about a lot of different stuff, but that is the main issue. And if you can get that resolved, you'll be a playoff team. But again, it's up to Don Kelly to stop looking at his computer, and same goes for Ben Sherrington, and actually manage these games.
And honestly, with the Pirates bullpen, and I still think they need to add a couple more pieces, but outside of like Eisert and Santana, they've been better as of recently. I'm not saying they're good, but they haven't been like, oh, every single guy comes in and gives up a bunch of runs and blows the game. They haven't been that bad. So it's just, at this point, you just have to manage it better, and you need to add so you don't have to have Eisert, and you can, make decisions on what you do with other guys.
There's at least one game every couple games where it's like, okay, we have it set up where these certain guys can come in, like that game 1, right?
Yeah.
Medinski, Montgomery, Soto. But then after that, there's, if you use those guys 2 days in a row, if you use Montgomery and Soto 2 days in a row, you're screwed. You have no depth. No depth. Really. I mean, Matson, I think they need to give him more of a chance. I'm not really sold yet. His last outing on Sunday, it wasn't a big situation because we were up 7-1, but his fastball looked really sharp. I think you got to see more from him. But you're just going to have to add. You're just going to have to add, and legitimately. But, like, based on these past few trade deadlines, like, I don't have faith in them. And there's a report that they don't want to raise payroll, but then some of the Pirates media is saying that that's not true.
Yeah, I don't know who to believe.
I don't know either, but I'll tell you what, my instinct isn't to believe the Pirates.
Well, you err on the side of they're not going to spend and add to the payroll.
Like, we're going to add. If you actually think you can add meaningful players without increasing payroll, you're delusional.
Marinaccio,
Brandon Eisert. You can't.
They're not adding payroll right now.
It's impossible to. It's literally impossible. You're going to have to increase payroll because even if you dump salaries like Keller and Ozuna, or I'm just throwing guys out there, if you dump that salary, what are you getting in return? You're not getting much. Yeah, now, if you dump those guys and go out and get players, I mean, I guess in that instance you could technically increase payroll, or not. You could get better and not increase payroll, but like the chances, the opportunities to do that are few and far between.
And to give up Ozuna, you'd have to also give up a pretty decent prospect in return just to dump his salary. That's not just going to be a clean, we're going to be able to trade Ozuna for cash considerations. That's not happening. No one's going to do that. So you would almost have to do what I think it was the Angels who did it with Zach Cozart. Whenever they realized they made a mistake, they traded him and one of their better prospects for a worse prospect in return, but they just need to get out of his salary. That's the only way the Pirates are going to be able to get rid of Ozuna. I don't think they'll trade Keller. I really don't.
My dad, I'll say this though. I was talking to my dad. I was like, why would they pull him after 75 pitches? The only thing he could think of is, are they protecting him and they want to trade him? But like my response to that is, what are you going to get for him?
Yeah.
Not his value is decreased. If you were going to trade him, you should have traded him in the offseason. And I thought that was going to happen. I really did.
thought so too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and Jake Bell, the other thing they'd have to do maybe with an Ozuna trade would be to like send money with him, and then it defeats the purpose of shedding that payroll, which we've seen some teams do before.
Right, but here's the thing though, with Ozuna, like for us, he's expensive, but like for a team like the Dodgers or, the Yankees, Boston, although Boston's become more frugal over the years, like that's really, you'd take what? They'd be responsible for $4 or $5 million for the next 2 months. Like, is that to them? That's not a lot. You know what I mean? So that's the only positive where we may be able to work some magic. And Ozuna, let's be fair to Ozuna, he's been better since June. Yeah. He has a 789 OPS, but he's an incredibly large liability on the base paths. He's an incredibly large liability when it comes to ABS challenges. We saw that once again yesterday.
It was
unbelievable. It's unbelievable how bad he is at it. I think that's part of what's affecting his hitting.
He got some right
ABS
yesterday.
Challenges. He is so bad at it. It has to be in his head. He did one in the second inning like he always does, and it was wrong. And then that at bat, later in the game, there was a ball that was clearly a ball. He didn't challenge. And then there was one that was right on the corner, same at bat, and then he did challenge. And it's like, how are you this bad at seeing this? It's remarkable how bad he is at ABS.
Well,
it's remarkable how bad the entire team is. Henry Davis cost us on Monday because, yes, Braxton Ashcraft got smacked around. But Henry Davis, Ben Rice, second at bat of the game, nobody's on base. He challenges a pitch, gets it wrong. That's so inconsequential. It's the second batter of the game, nobody's on base. Why are you challenging the pitch? Why are you doing it?
It has to be 100% obvious that wasn't.
And it wasn't even close. Okay? And then, and this is what happens, not only with Davis, but with the entire team. They use one of those challenges early, then they won't use another challenge until the 8th or 9th inning. They're afraid to be the guy to lose the challenge. On a 3-2 count to Jazz Chisholm, when he hit his second homer that game, Ashcraft painted the corner. It should have been strike 3. Henry Davis catches it, throws it back like nothing even happened. It was a clear strike 3. He doesn't challenge it. Next pitch, it's in the seats. It's 6-5, and that changes the game. But like, as much as I'm irritated with Henry Davis and his lack of knowing the strike zone with these ABS challenges, and it goes for Flores and even Endy, but especially Davis, because with how bad his hitting is, you want him to be excellent defensively. But I more so blame the coaching staff. There is no strategy at all, no team strategy when it comes to this ABS stuff. And it's really, I'm on my last nerve about it. I mean, with Marcell Ozuna, he can't be, Don Kelly has to tell him, you're not allowed to challenge. I mean, what are you going to do, hurt his feelings? Like, nobody, like, it just feels like this organization, and I talk about babying young arms, it just, there's no one wants to confront some of these players and say, hey, you need to do this. And this is what we want from you as an organization. Henry Davis, can we not challenge pitches in the second batter of the game? And actually, I saw something on MLB Network. What the Brewers do, the Brewers are obviously probably one of the better teams at the ABS. They tell their hitters, don't use your challenge. Their hitters do not use challenges like at all. Like, they're one of the lowest percentiles in the league at using challenges by the hitters. And they tell their catchers, hey, we want you to use this for our pitchers, right? We want you to buy strikes for our pitchers. And they tell their hitters, only do it if it's a really, really important situation or if it's a 3-2 count. Like, they tell their hitters to not do it. So at least they have a strategy. And it makes sense because when you're pitching, right, and you throw a strike, and you challenge a ball and turn it into a strike, your percentage that you're going to get that out increases dramatically. The percentage that you're going to get an out increases dramatically. When you overturn a strike into a ball as a hitter, your percentage of getting a hit does not increase as much, if you think about it. Just because you change that one strike call, that does not increase your percentage of getting a hit. In comparison to a pitcher, you get that strike call, that certainly increases your chances of getting it out. Because you get ahead in the count or you add a strike to the count. So what the Brewers do, of course, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to rant about that because I was talking about that last night to my dad. It was just like,
you're good.
Where's the strategy?
You were
Where's
in
telling some of these guys,
hibernation,
hey,
you had a lot to get off
you
your
need to do
chest.
this better. There's no accountability. There's no confrontation, no accountability.
Yeah.
And that's what I was hoping for with Don
Bill,
Kelly, and I just don't think that's the case.
You have anything to add to that wonderful rant?
No, I mean, I'll just say, no, you're absolutely right. It's just you can't be challenging 0-0 counts, whatever. Like, it's just these low leverage situations. You have a challenge in the second. Like, it's just that just can't happen. And like, I agree, they have to have some sort of strategy. I'm fine with it being don't challenge unless it's absolutely obvious. At least have something to where you're having these guys. Like, it's just not like, oh well, I'm a veteran hitter. I think I know the strike zone better than anyone. I'm just going to challenge because I've been in the league a long time. That shouldn't be I know Ozuna's been the biggest culprit of this, but Brian Reynolds hasn't been all that great with ABS challenges. I think he's been better recently.
He's one of the guys I trust.
Yeah, I trust him, but at the same time, he's not. I feel like he's not right all the time. It's just, to me, it's just a lot of the veteran hitters who think they know the strike zone better because they're around the league a long time. Those are the same type of guys that'll take strike three constantly because they think that they know the strike zone so well that the umpires are just going to be absolutely correct all the time, and they don't protect at the plate. It's just those types of issues, and it's weird because I thought that maybe with this ABS challenge it would forgive some of these guys that were so passive up at the plate that don't protect at the plate, which is mainly a majority of the veteran hitters because they think they have the greatest eye in the world all the time, and it just hasn't been the case because then they'll challenge these pitches and then of course they're wrong, and then it doesn't really matter, and they still won't adjust and they still won't protect at the plate. They'll still take strike three and complain and curse at the ump whenever they should be fouling it off anyway. So it's just, I don't know, I kind of just get sick of losing these ABS challenges, and then we're in an important spot. It's because of the selfishness of some of these guys.
Yeah, I just double-checked. We are last total in challenges in the league.
That makes sense.
And challenges, like success rate or like in using challenges?
Success rate.
Yeah,
42.9%, lowest.
That's like the most Pirates thing. That makes total sense.
You have to at least be getting 50%. You know, like, come on.
Yeah. But, guys, I do want to get to real quick before we kind of go macro with Major League Baseball a little bit here. What do we think? So, kind of not the big three, but Reynolds, O'Hearn, and Lowe have gone out of the gate slow since the All-Star break. We're not worried at all about them. I mean, Lowe's
been struggling for a while now.
And
so is O'Hearn. Lowe and O'Hearn have been struggling both for a while. Outside of that 3-homer game from O'Hearn, he hasn't done much of anything.
Well, right. Yeah. Now, again, they've faced a lot of lefties recently. And Lowe is just a nightmare against lefties. I mean,
But we knew that. We knew that going into the season.
And so that's why, I'm not concerned. Reynolds had a bad doubleheader. And I don't know. I just want to get your guys, we think everyone's fine here with that. We think that those bats are going to wake up.
Well, I mean, we talked about this with Lowe. He shouldn't be batting second. Generally anymore.
I agree.
He should not be batting second.
It should never happen either.
He should be batting 4th or 5th. Okay. But it also brings to the point, the people who want to trade Oneil Cruz And for the right player, I maybe would consider it. But we have to consider the fact that, when the you don't want to weaken a strength, right? You want to have guys who can hit when other guys are struggling. And let's be honest, the reason this offense has continued to succeed with 4 starters being injured is not because of O'Hearn and not because of Lowe. It's been because of Esmeralyn Valdez and Nick Gonzales. And then the last week, Jacob Gonzales has been a great contributor so far. Has fit in perfectly. Jared Triolo, as much hate as we give him, I'd say over the last month, he's done a pretty good job at the plate as well, right? So guys stepped up, and it's guys who, we didn't expect to be this good, right, this soon, specifically with Valdez. So, if Nick Gonzales gets in a slump or Valdez gets in a slump, and who knows what's going to happen, we don't know. Baseball's a hard game. Guys get into slumps. Like, that's why you want to have a deep lineup. Because so that way when a couple guys are down, you have another couple guys heating up, right? And that's why, you don't take for granted, a deep lineup. I mean, we experienced, for most of the Derek Shelton era, horrendous offenses. Just horrendous. And I think us fans and analysts have to remember that. Okay, and not take this for granted. You want to have everyone healthy, and what it does is when you bring back an Oneil Cruz, you bring back Spencer Horwitz, it opens up better pitches to hit for a Ryan O'Hearn, for a Brandon Lowe.
Yeah, and I kind of want to go back to your point about Oneil Cruz, and what's the biggest issue that's been the case for Oneil Cruz, right? He's not a 162-game player. He seems to get burned out, just not really focused during the dog days of July. Honestly, this is the weirdest thing to say, but I think this injury was probably the best thing to happen to Cruz for this season, just because he's not getting burned out. He's going to be more excited to come back when they actually really need him to perform. And I just don't want to trade Oneil Cruz when the bat's there. And like you mentioned, you don't want to weaken a strength. I mean, we got lucky with, like you said, some of these guys slumping, and we're able to have other guys that are heating up at the right time because of the depth in this lineup. I remember whenever Reynolds, Hayes, and Cruz, if those 3 at times, obviously whenever Hayes was still on the team, those 3 weren't producing or were in slumps, the offense wasn't going to be able to score to save their life because the rest of the offense was in a slump the entire year. So I just don't understand the necessity of everyone's like, oh, we need to trade Oneil Cruz this trade deadline to get relievers. If a team is selling, you're going to be able to give up prospects for some of these relievers. I mean, imagine if you call the Mets, they're not going to demand Oneil Cruz. I mean, all 3 of the guys they said are untouchable are in their outfield. I don't think that's going to be an issue, and I just don't understand why you would trade Cruz. I mean, I love Mangum. What Mangum's been doing is awesome. He's not the same player as Cruz, but he's fit into center field and has become a starting quality player at times. But he's a 4th outfielder. And whenever you have Oneil Cruz back, you just unlock some more power in a lineup where, say they don't add to the bullpen that we would hope they would do so. Maybe they'll add a guy at the trade deadline, but say they don't really add anything too significant, you're going to need that power bat if you're down a couple runs because the bullpen blew a game. You're going to want these more power bats to be in the team, and if you don't have Cruz, you're just eliminating that. I mean, Valdez is going to slump eventually. As great as he's been, reality is going to hit at some point, and you don't want to just hope that he's going to hit 300 and have an 1100 OPS all year. I mean, I would love that, but that's just not realistic. And you just can't. Yeah.
No, go ahead, continue.
No, that's all I want to say. Yeah.
When it comes to Valdez, I think, based on what I've seen, it's like, okay, we're trying to analyze, okay, what is realistic for him for the rest of this year? 300 average is not going to be realistic because there's a lot of swing and miss, especially against right-handed pitchers. However, I think he has an elite swing, and it's going to play for the rest of his career as long as they don't mess with it. And when he hits the ball, he has power to all fields, and I absolutely think Rookie of the Year and at least 25 home runs is absolutely in
Absolutely.
sight for him. Maybe 30 homers is absolutely in sight for him for this year. And if he does somehow win Rookie of the Year, it would be amazing because of how many good rookies there are. But what he's doing in terms of the power and the run production, I mean, it blows every other rookie away. And I love J.J. Weatherholt, Sal Stewart, good players. They absolutely should be in the running for the award, but they don't have the kind of power that this kid possesses. And like I said, I called. I'm glad that I called. I said he was one of the most impressive swings I've seen. But then it was like, well, he started out like 2 for 20, and it's like, well, it's gonna take some time, I guess, you know. And like, are the Pirates really bought in on him? But then he's given them no choice but to play him the rest of the year, and I absolutely have no problem with it whatsoever.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
And I also want to go ahead, Nate.
No, good.
I just wanted to say I also want to again praise Nick Gonzales.
Yeah.
And I've kind of had a little bit of an epiphany because remember I talked a couple weeks ago about like, do we trade Nick Gonzales because is this his ceiling? Like, is he ever going to get back here? But this week I've kind of changed my mind, not only by his performance, but I saw the segment with him and Brandon Lowe on MLB Central, and they showed Gonzales' swings over the last 3 years. And I noticed the swing change for sure, but like when you look at it side by side from the last 3 years, it's incredible. Number one, not only how much he's on his backside now, but also the width of the bat behind him. I mean, he was, and that was my thing with Gonzales. Like, he always had good bat to ball skills, you know, but like he was very pushy with his swing. It kind of felt like he was getting on his front foot too early. And now he's getting that bat whip behind him, and he's staying on that back leg, and he's shortened his stride, and his head is center, you know, throughout the swing. He has a really high-level swing now. It's just looking at it in slow-mo this past week compared to the years past. Like, if he sticks to that, he's putting up, hitting 300 or plus in this. He may not finish 300, but if you're hitting 290 or above, and you don't have as much power, right? Like, that's what Luis Ariz has done his whole career and has been successful. I think he can continue a Luis Ariz path, probably with a little more swing and miss than Luis Ariz, but
and
also
a little more power.
Also more power than Luis Ariz. He has 6 homers this year, but he's had some tough breaks. I mean, that game 1 against the Yankees, first pitch of the game, almost hit one out.
Yeah.
He had a homer robbed against the Cardinals. He probably should be at like 10 homers, and he's at 6. So to me, especially, you're probably not going to get Brandon Lowe back. You're going to get outbidded for Brandon Lowe, even if you try to bid for him. Nick Gonzales should absolutely be your starting second baseman. And people were hating on Nick Gonzales for the error on Monday and his poor play at third base. But guys, the fans have to realize it's not his fault. Ben Sherrington put him at a position he's never played really before, right? I mean, I think he's done the best that he can, and I think, you know, with his bat, you have to keep him around, and you have to put him at a much more comfortable position, and you have to go out and figure out what you're gonna. I don't know if you sign a third baseman, or, you know, Jacob Gonzales continues to do what he's doing with his pedigree as a first-round pick. I mean, he has the driver's keys right now to a starting spot in the infield somewhere next year.
And also, like, even with that, like, you can make the case that if they don't trade him at the deadline, that Murph Gray could potentially platoon with Jacob Gonzales at third. Like, that's a realistic option.
Hey, Ezreal Valdez came up quick. Why not Murph Gray? I have to look more closer at him, but I mean, he's doing great things.
Yeah, like, assuming he starts the season in AAA next year, like, that's a realistic option. So I love Lowe.
An infielder, assuming Lowe, you still have to sign an infielder for depth purposes. And maybe they want they may keep Gonzales as more of a utility guy, because he can play first, second, third, short. They may not want him to have a starting role because he may just fit in better from a mental aspect and for the team as a utility guy, and you actually do, sign a third baseman. So
Yeah.
we'll that's obviously next year's stuff, but it's something I've been thinking we've all been thinking about.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Nicky G because he hasn't skipped a beat. There were times where he was dipping into the 290s and then like high 280s. You're like, oh, is he gonna kind of regress back to kind of what he's been in his career? But every time we thought that, he's gone on just a tremendous run. I mean, July he's hitting around 400. He's fourth in baseball in average, third in the National League, and he's just come up with so many clutch, like up the middle hits. He did it against the Yankees. He did it he put on a clinic against Cleveland, and he had a homer against Cleveland. He had a homer to right center against the Yankees as well. And like you mentioned, Peyton, first at bat, was it a first pitch too? Yeah, he hit that to the wall and right.
Mm-hmm. And left. Or no, yeah, and right. Never mind.
And he's just been tremendous, Nicky G. And the defensive stuff, it's not a surprise. People are like, oh, it's not a surprise that he's been fine. He's really been fine. I know the skiing starts. Like I remember a couple of skiing starts. The one in Houston, he had a couple blunders. The one against the Yankees, but it was just kind of that. It was just kind of a snowball thing against the Yankees in Game 1, where just everything was kind of going wrong. The missed challenge and the homer. Ashcraft was throwing pancakes
meatballs
over the plate.
Yeah, and we have to accept the fact that I talked about this. It was okay. Like we were willing to sacrifice defense for offense, and that's okay. What's not okay is completely abandoning this bullpen for no reason at all, right? And we're not going to get into that. But again, I've mentioned this before. Triolo, to me, is an average to slightly above average shortstop, where he's an elite defender at third base. I'd much rather see Jared Triolo at third and Nick Gonzales at short. While Nick Gonzales certainly isn't a great shortstop, I think you'd see less mistakes like we saw on Monday from Nick Gonzales at shortstop because that's his natural position. He grew up playing shortstop. So, yeah, I never understood that, but that's just, they like Triolo at short, and he's been fine, but he certainly hasn't been perfect at short. But yeah. And I'd rather see Gonzales, and then, this Jacob Gonzales can play third, as I mentioned. Have Triolo and Gonzales platoon at third, rather than Triolo and Gonzales platooning at short. Jacob Gonzales. Plus, if that third base spot is open next year, I want to see what Jacob Gonzales can do from a defensive standpoint at third base. Because we know who our shortstop is next year.
Right. That's a good point.
Termarr Johnson, right? We're all talking about Termarr Johnson.
It's a shame he has no trade value.
Yeah, they were like, he's heating up. I saw that, and he was like at 203. Like, he had like one good game. But, Jake, I want to get back to your point about Oneil Cruz because, yeah, the fans, I mean, I've been listening to I-37 a lot this past week because I've been driving around. And these fans, I mean, trade every offensive piece. They've mentioned Reynolds. There's been Cruz that have been trading them. No. This is, and Lowe, obviously, and Pony was talking about, would you do...
I want to interrupt you real quick. There is one starter on this offense that I would consider trading for a specific reason, and that's Spencer Horwitz. That's the only one, because he would be the easiest to move, and you actually get better defensively, because you have O'Hearn at first now. You have, you don't have an outfield of Cruz, O'Hearn, and Reynolds, which we've seen be an issue at times.
But we mentioned...
But I think you could get more for Oneil Cruz. And
you could.
My stance on Cruz is, for the right price, for the right player, for Mason Miller, I would consider it. But, you don't just trade him just to trade it. Unless you absolutely could trade him, Because, I mean, the path to trading Cruz would be obviously Mangum finishes the year in center, which would be fine. And then you go sign a center fielder next year. And obviously, you know, this Derek Curriel, who knows how quickly he's going to come up, too. So, would it shock me if they traded Cruz? A little. But would it be the most surprising thing in the world? No. What would shock me is if they somehow acquired Mason Miller, which seems to be the talk of town on social media. Are the Pirates in on Mason Miller? You can ban me for 2 podcasts if they trade for Mason Miller. It's not a fit. It's not a fit because it's been reported, obviously the Padres are going to want a haul because they just traded for him. They'd kind of look stupid. They'd kind of look stupid getting rid of him now. That's number 1. Number 2, like, they're going to want to potentially dump one of these Xander Bogaerts contracts that they have in a package with Mason Miller. The Pirates are never going to accept. They're never going to accept that. And then, additionally, in my opinion, the Pirates, like, having an elite closer would be outstanding. But you need depth more than anything. You need depth. I'd rather get 2 to 3 really, really good relievers, and you kind of figure out the closing situation depending on the game situation, rather than, you know, spending all your assets to get Mason Miller. It's not a fit of a trade. It's not something the Pirates do. It's not. They don't give up a haul unless it's Chris Archer in 2018. Like, they just don't do that. That's not how they conduct business.
Yeah, and what I was getting to, your point about Oneil Cruz, Jake Bell, about kind of trade options and why, you know, the second half he could be even more poised for a good return. If you bench Sherrington, and we already know he's not a good general manager, if he cannot acquire bullpen help, I'm not talking about Mason Miller, if he cannot acquire bullpen help without having to trade from the Major League offense, he should be launched into the sun. And I'm not being hyperbolic. Like, I'm serious.
He could have been launched into the sun a while ago, but this will pop everything. If they don't make the playoffs this year because they can't address this bullpen, and they manage games the way they've been managing games, with how many deficiencies these other wild card teams have, everybody needs thrown into the sun.
And, like, this discourse, I know it's like fans and everything, but, like, now that we're good, it's like, oh, we can't trade prospects now. No, we need to trade prospects.
Yeah.
I need to stop here. We need to stop hearing they should trade Cruz for, you know, for Luke Wheat or some random reliever. No. No, Lowe. Pony mentioned Lowe for somebody. I can't remember.
I'm against trading Lowe. One
swing of the bat from him and the game is over.
He's been this, outside of the last month, he's been the soul of this offense with how clutch he has been with these big time home runs. I think that would, in the long term of this season, it would hurt your team more than help your team. Getting rid of Brandon Lowe. And, like, here's the thing: if you're, like, who's gonna want him? If you're trading to a selling team, he's on an expired contract. How are you going to trade him anyway? Yeah,
teams aren't going to trade bullpen. Like, good teams aren't going to trade from their bullpen to get Brandon Lowe.
And then you have to play Jared Triolo every day.
Maybe that's what they want to do.
Because you'd have to put Nick Gonzales or Jacob Gonzales at second.
It's not happening. Yeah, it's not. None of this happening.
It'd be stupid.
If they're going to make moves, it's going to be prospects. And if it's not, if they trade from there's no reason to trade for the Major League team. No other team, when they get good, thinks, oh, we need to trade a bat at the Major League level for starting rotation help or bullpen help. No, you talk about trading your prospects. Right? Do you think the Dodgers, the Milwaukee, I mean, now Milwaukee's a little different, but they don't even think about trading
Well,
from.
apparently they're gonna be aggressive this year, and I'm all for it. Milwaukee,
Hey,
they
more
need to
power
be
to
aggressive.
them.
You look at the team
They
selling.
have so many prospects.
Are the Giants gonna the Giants and the Mets are probably gonna want? Well, maybe not the Mets because the Mets are weird, but I feel like these teams are gonna want prospects more than not. That just to just retool some things and reset for the next year. I don't think they're gonna be demanding oh, we're not giving you Luke Weaver unless we get Oneil Cruz. No, there's no way.
Here's the thing: to be devil's advocate to support the people who are saying you can trade major league bats. I think there could be some opportunity to do that. I'm not saying I want to do it, but I see where there could be opportunity to do that, just because there aren't as many teams that are going to be fully in on selling. Let's be honest, everyone in the American League is average. Toronto's having a terrible year, but are they gonna be a big seller after just going to the World Series? No. They're just gonna sell their Reynolds. You look at the American League, there's not gonna be a lot of teams that are big sellers. And the National League, right, Washington you thought would be a big seller. I don't know what they're gonna do, but I don't think they should be a big seller, that's for sure.
The Mets are gonna be goofy.
The Mets will sell. The Giants will sell. The Rockies, they're kind of the angels of the National League. Do they really actually ever sell?
D. Podesta's taken over. I think they're...
Yeah, they do have a
right.
new...
Maybe, but what do they have, though, pitching-wise, for the Pirates? So I'm saying it's not as much of there's not as many selling teams that I can name off the top of my head as there have been in past years.
But this isn't a deadline. Me and Jake Bell talked a lot about this last week. This isn't a deadline where you have to go all in, whereas you need to trade from the major league team. All it takes is a few bullpen arms for this season. I think a lot of Pirates fans will be more than satisfied. And so that's why I hate the discourse about trading.
It's okay, Brandon. We're good here. Brandon Eisert is here.
Yeah.
But if you can get Brazoban from the Mets, that changes things.
Yeah.
And then you can build up get another reliever that's quality, and then you at least have more options.
So again, the only one that would kind of tempt me would be a Horwitz, just because of the kind of log jam that the Pirates have at that first base, with O'Hearn being his better position. But we mentioned this last week. That's one of Charrington's prize trades, where you're I won that. I stole that trade. He's not going to want to trade a Horwitz, or to be a really high asking price.
I don't really like the Horwitz, because you want to have flexibility to put O'Hearn in right field in case there's an outfield injury.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying you have to trade Horwitz. No, I'm just saying I feel like that would make the most sense if they trade at the major league level, that you would trade him. I don't want to do any of it.
You do not trade Oneil Cruz. If they trade Oneil Cruz,
unless it's for Mason Miller,
I'm gonna be furious.
But again, that's never going to happen, guys.
It's not going to happen. And any other trade would be a huge overpay. We have our criticisms of Oneil Cruz, but imagine him in October if he just gets a hold of one at PNC Park. Come on now, we're dreaming. I'm dreaming today. Me
Someone
and Jake
would get
Bell,
injured,
we were dreaming
unless he
last
puts
week.
in the Allegheny.
Yeah, it's not hard. The Pirates have a huge need in the bullpen, and are they going to address it sufficiently is a major question. I don't think we'll have an answer until August 3rd, after the deadline passes. You can't trust the general manager in this front office fully until you see it. But anything else with the Pirates here before? I wanted to mention just some overall baseball things, some NL wildcard updates, guys. But anything else on the Pirates before we shift to that, just briefly?
It's exhausting. I think we can move on for a little bit.
Yeah. So big updates in both the American League and the National League. The Boston Red Sox had a 15-game winning streak. Snapped. You knew it was going to snap one of these doubleheaders, and they just had so many doubleheaders, and it was against the Orioles, who've been playing better before they played Boston. And the Red Sox, we were talking, and And Peyton, you kind of snapped me out of this here with the Chapman thing. I was loving Chapman as being a potential addition, but it didn't make sense, and they weren't going to do it. And the Red Sox, were going to try not to sell for as long as possible. And so I'm actually glad that they had this winning streak, because the American League is such a joke. Like, I want to see good teams in, and Boston had the highest potential of any of the teams. And I don't think they're going to go crazy buying, because this Craig Breslow is a goofball. I don't care if they had this winning streak.
I mean, their fans have been upset with ownership and the GM. I mean, they haven't been very aggressive at all in the offseason at the trade deadline. But they have so much young talent and young pitching. They made the playoffs last year, and with this 15-game winning streak, they're right back in the mix of things.
They
have a 2-game lead in the AL wildcard. And they should. I mean, I picked them to win the division.
Hey.
Because you looked at their roster on paper, it was like, this should be a really good team, and it was stunning how bad they were. But now they're at least in the mix.
6 games out. Tampa, I don't trust Tampa.
I mean, the American League, why not be aggressive? Like, the Yankees, they are what they are. The Rays, they never really do much in the playoffs. The White Sox, they keep winning somehow. The AL West is a complete disgrace. I mean, why not? If I'm a majority of these teams, unless I'm like a Houston, where it's like, clearly our core outside of Yordan Alvarez is regressing, and we need to stack up our farm system. Outside of that, and I include Detroit in this, like, why, like, the Tarek Skubal thing.
You gotta trade him.
I think you do have to trade him just because of how valuable he is. But I think you could also buy. Like, I think you could trade Tarek Skubal while also try to make the team better. Because I still think that they can be one of the 3 wild card teams, or potentially sneak back in and win this division.
Yeah.
Because their lineup is really good, and if you can get Framber Valdez back on track, that's a big if. Like, you got some arms in that pen. Like, that's a team who is underachieved and should be doing better.
And I kind of want to touch on the Red Sox too. You guys know I'm not that high on the Red Sox, but I really do like a lot of their young core a lot, which has been really intriguing for them. And I've always liked the Red Sox, right? I was a huge fan of the 2018 Red Sox team. Is one of my favorite teams. I love JD Martinez. Like, but like, to me, like, I like that they're gonna buy. That's inevitable, and I like that idea. But man, like, with this young talent, I feel like them holding on to Chapman is gonna help them make the playoffs, absolutely. But I do feel like they're wasting an opportunity to get a lot from Chapman to add to this young core, and I'm hoping that doesn't hurt them next year.
Maybe you can trade him in the offseason.
But he's on a 1-year deal, right? Or unless he has 2
he
years.
No, I thought he had 2 more.
Oh, does he really? Oh,
never
mind then. Okay. Never mind. My take's irrelevant then. I thought he only had 1 year.
I mean, I think they would have gotten a huge return from him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't think you can justify it now.
No, they can't. They absolutely
being in that playoff
now.
position.
I mean, the whole Red Sox faithful, rightfully so, would riot. I mean, if the
They're
Pirates were to
storming at
trade,
Fenway Park.
yeah, they would. And like, if the Pirates were to do that, like, we'd be furious. Like, so I understand. Like, I'm not, like, they're not gonna trade Chapman, and that makes total sense. I mean, they're in it. I'm not high on them. I think that they're gonna be very good next year with the right moves, obviously. But like, I don't know. They're kind of in a weird limbo, and I hope that they can build on this winning streak. I hope this isn't all for nothing to where, after the trade deadline, even with the additions that they will make, they're just out of the playoff hunt. Like, I just hope that's not the case.
What is that noise? Are y'all hearing
my
that?
Train's going by.
There we go.
Choo choo!
I love the choo-choo train. Red Sox have been on the choo-choo train with their 15-game winning streak. But big series. I mean, it's a big series, battle of mid this weekend. It's Mariners and Rangers 4-game series, and there's gonna be some really good pitching matchups in this series. Both offenses are porous. Both pitching staffs are pretty good. I don't know who wants to win that division. Houston's lurking just because they
Nobody.
swept Miami. Yeah, the A's certainly didn't.
The Astros.
The Astros got to sell.
They have to sell. If they like, they're done. Like, I'm sorry. Even if they sneak into the playoffs, there's just no way. Like, I think they need to trade Yordan Alvarez. I'm sorry. I know that's going to upset some people. I don't care. You're going to get an absolute haul because he has years of control and he's having.
If it weren't for Yordan Alvarez, they'd be in Angels territory. I'm sorry, but that's true.
Exactly. And just
like, that guy's worth
rebuild now. Build around Jeremy Pena, who's young and is one of the best shortstops in the league when healthy, and just rebuild. Like, I don't understand. Like, you can't keep Yordan Alvarez when he's at his peak value, and you can get an absolute haul with the amount of teams that are going to be aggressive because it's now or never. Because who knows about next year in baseball? Like, they're going to get at a bare minimum 2 top 50 prospects in a deal with Yordan Alvarez.
And here's another point: Yordan Alvarez, as great as he is, he's been very injury prone in his career.
Yeah,
right. So you're getting him at peak value right now.
Yeah.
You have him. You have him. Like, that's a huge asset you could cash.
If they don't trade him now or in the offseason, that is an absolute waste, and that is not a good start to the inevitable rebuild. Because I know everyone's like, oh, like every last ounce, I guess, whatever. There's no point. Yeah, I mean. Like, they have to start it now. This team is not.
I agree.
It's just I'll be angry at the Astros if they don't trade Yordan Alvarez for a team that has perfected the rebuild. Yeah, exactly. Like, for a team that has perfected the rebuild before, and now they're just all of a sudden like, oh, we don't want to do this again. Like, that's ridiculous. Like,
it's funny, we forget that Carlos Correa's on that team again because he's been out all year.
He's unmovable. I don't know why they did that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, because I remember going to the year and it was
Isn't he out for the season?
I don't know.
He's been hurt.
But he hasn't played all year. But I remember in camp it was like, well, what are they going to do with Correa and Paredes? So they're going to play. He split time at third, and it's like they're both righties. Like, it was just.
Remember when we thought we might trade Joey Bart for Paredes?
I wish. That was what we did.
Yeah.
That would have been something.
Instead, we got DFA. A guy that was DFA, and then we DFA. Did we DFA? Is Hunter Stratton just optioned? Did they just
He's in AAA, bro.
Yeah.
He has like he showed a little bit. I swear his last outing before AAA, like, he did good, and then they just set him down. So it's just it's such a nothing.
A bit larger sample size of under.
They saved $1 million though, so.
That's all we're looking at here. But yeah, Houston, they have, I think, one of the worst farm systems in baseball. Their outfield is the worst in baseball, and their Pena is great, but he's been hurt frequently. Altuve's been hurt a lot this year. Christian Walker, he's been striking out a ton recently. It's just
he's an every other year guy.
Yeah.
You always have
like 20 homers, but recently
he's had a good year this year compared to last year.
Yeah, and Paredes, he's an average third baseman, honestly. Like, he hasn't hit it for as much power as we think, and so the Houston's. But again, I think teams are going to be like, okay, like, the Red Sox are better than all these teams fighting for the wild card. Like, I thought that when they were 14 games under, and so I think a lot of teams should hit the sell button. I think Kansas City should stop saying we're Michael Wacha's off limits, and they should actually sell.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
They
want to hang on to that off-season champions in 2024, and they don't want to get rid of Wacha.
Toronto's got to sell. So they're not going to sell.
They need to fire the managers. What they need to do.
Yeah. And I think Detroit should do exactly what you said, Peyton. They should buy other than Scooble. I think they should get a haul back.
You could potentially get major league talent for Scooble anyway.
Yeah.
There are guys that are like major league ready.
Yep.
And then other top prospects in the deal.
Because, I mean, if there was any chance that they could sign him, I'd say you'd maybe consider, but there's no chance they signed him. I mean, they ruined the relationship, giving Framber Valdez $1 billion.
And Baez, they're stuck with.
And then saying we're going to give you
you're paying
$19
Baez
million
and Valdez what you should be spending on.
Oh yeah, Javier Baez. And then we're going to give you, you only deserve $19 million in arbitration. Like, what a joke.
That's, yeah.
That was so
instant
poorly
karma
handled.
with them being 1 billion games under 500 to start the year, and with Valdez being one of the worst. I don't even know if he's qualified, but if he is, he's one of the worst qualified pitchers this season. It was so dumb when it happened, and it's so dumb now. And they're just in a bad spot with that. But I still think they could win the division, and certainly fight for the wild card. I think if there's any team, I think Seattle, if they click, can get back in this. I think Detroit could as well, as they have. I mean, they've gained like 10 games. They were like 15 games under, and now they're 6 games under or something right now.
Yeah, they're up 4-3 in the 9th against the Royals right now. So if they win, they'll be. Are we talking about Detroit, right? They'll be 5 games under.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
they have a plus 28
Minnesota.
run differential. Plus 28 run differential. That's actually
probably third
one of
in
the
the
better
AL.
run differentials in the American League.
Makes sense.
The Red Sox are now at a plus 45.
Tampa's like plus
the only
30.
The only plus run differential in the West is the Mariners.
Yeah.
And obviously the Mariners should win that division. Now, and remember when we did our preseason predictions, I picked the Rangers to win the division just because I thought Seattle was going to have a down year. I still don't think
the Rangers are so
Texas minus 30 run differential. I mean, their offense is just not good still.
Well, it's funny. Like, I remember the Rangers spending like all kinds of money going into 2023. I think, or 2022. I think. And then they just never spent that much money again. Yeah, and it helped them
win the World
Series.
They lost 100 games, and then next year won the World Series.
Yeah.
So, if I'm the Rangers, though, with that starting pitching, I'm buying, though, if I'm the Rangers. Because you got good starting pitching, you have a decent back end of your bullpen, go out and get some bats.
They're leading the division.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Because, I feel like or as an organization, they still have a lot of talent. Like, I don't think selling necessarily does them any good. I don't know. But they still got a decent roster. But it's just, it's still not, it's not where it should be to win a division. Maybe to be a wild card team. But in this division, that is what it is. Seattle, the pressure is on Seattle. If you don't win this division, that's a disgrace.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They've been so goofy all year. But how about this? So the Angels, I want to talk about the Angels because they can.
Are they going to finally sell?
They could control a lot of the starting pitching market here with Reed Detmers, with Soriano. I think Mozeliak is in charge now, actually, temporarily. So I think he's gonna sell. I think the Angels are gonna sell, and they should, because this is a roster bereft of talent. And now I know the rotation could be something to build on, but unless you're confident you're going to re-sign these guys, there's no reason not to trade them and get value back at literally any other position.
Right? And I want to go off topic about the Angels real quick because I know it's only like 1 year into this, but them drafting Tyler Bremner second overall is absolutely absurd.
What about drafting Christian Moore in that 2 years ago?
Yeah, well, Christian Moore was actually good.
They could have drafted anyone else in the top 12, and it would have been better.
That's true, but they rushed him. I don't blame that much on that. I just blame them more that they rushed him. But Bremner, they drafted him over Cade Anderson and Seth Hernandez, who are two of the top pitching prospects in all of baseball. And anyone could have predicted that, because Bremner was a reach to begin with. They drafted Bremner whenever he was supposed to go 20th overall, second overall. And then they don't draft Cade Anderson or Seth Hernandez, and they just screw themselves. I'm
they,
sorry,
they
that was
do
a
that
little
a lot.
And although the Pirates' starting pitching has shown some good signs this past week, I still think we have to get a starting pitcher as well. And I think you want to get a left-handed starting pitcher because you have no variation in terms of lefties and righties in your rotation. It's all righties. Reed Detmers, fits that bill. Young, controllable, throws pretty hard.
It's a high asking price.
Yeah.
But get it done. Like it's now
for
or
a
never.
strength, you know.
But I don't think it's a strength. If you're going into a playoff series, I don't think our rotation is enough of a strength. Jared Jones has shown. Jared Jones has shown good things, but can he stay healthy? Can he stay consistent? I don't know. Bubba Chandler, you never know what you're going to get. Although that was his best start of his career, but typically batter to batter, you don't know what you're going to get. Mitch Keller, you don't know what you're getting. Although again, another good. We saw a positive, but do we really trust him based on what we've seen this year? No. Braxton Ashcraft has never thrown more than 115 innings, right? Isn't that what the number was? And we're potentially seeing some fatigue here, right? So there's outside of we know what Paul Skeens hasn't had a great year, but you're gonna give him the ball. There may be issues with him, but you're gonna give him the ball, and it is what it is at this point with him, right? And he's looked better. He's upped his four-seam usage, and I think that's helped him. I think a lot of the issues with some of these starters is they have so many different. We've talked about this. So many different pitches, and they're not keeping it simple and just using 3 or 4 of those pitches, and using 1 or 2 a majority of the time, right? And I think we've seen some simplification, and that's a good thing. But going back to my point, outside of Skeens, I don't know where these other 4 guys are going to be in October. We don't know. So I think you absolutely can go out and get a pitcher. Now, Reed Detmers is a little young, right? And he's had some really decent years, and he's had some really bad years, and he's a guy who's he's either going to go out there and dominate, or he's going to be really bad. He's a Johan Oviedo type, I feel like. I swear I see games where he has 7 innings and no runs, 12 strikeouts. And the other games, it's he's given up 9 runs in 2 innings. So is that a really, maybe if you're the Pirates, you want more of a veteran pitcher who's been there, done that? Because outside of Skeens and Keller, you really don't have, that veteran moxie October baseball, A.J. Burnett feel kind of pitcher, you know? And I'm not comparing anyone to A.J. Burnett, but maybe that's the only thing with Detmers, maybe you want to go out and get a veteran instead. But I don't know who that would be. I can't think of that off the. We'll dive into players, more next week.
Jose Quintana.
Well, he's been hurt, right?
I bring him up every week. Yeah. No, we've talked about this. I think the starting rotation, another lefty start or any lefty starter, I think that would be a welcome addition to this team. But it can't come at the price of not addressing the bullpen as much as you need to.
I
the
agree.
bullpen has to be a number one.
If the starting
But I think you
pitching
do need to look at the
untouched
rotation.
and you address the bullpen, I'm not going to complain.
Yeah,
It is what it is. Because you still
yeah.
have the Cy Young on your team.
There's just not too many lefty starters that are available. There's
No.
not too many
Kyle
starters in
Hanlon.
general.
The only one is really Robbie Ray that you can almost guarantee to get
gonna
in the
be
right
too
package,
much
but he's
for the
too
Pirates.
expensive. Yeah, he's
Yep.
too expensive. That's the only issue.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they don't want to increase. If they don't want to increase payroll, they certainly won't get Robbie Ray.
Yeah, exactly.
So a couple other teams, I just going back to, because we're kind of talking about who's buying, who should be selling. Another team we didn't discuss is the Twins. They just keep hanging around and winning games, and they've been I swear they've just I see right now 5-5 in their last 10. I feel like they've just been the most 500
They
team
split with
all
Cleveland.
year.
Yeah.
And right now they're 2 games under, but they're only 2.5 back of a wild card spot, 4.5 back. You got to give Derek Shelton credit. This is a team we thought might be where the Royals are right now, and they've hung around. But I don't think it's a roster where you say we want to buy.
No.
But
No, they're
I
not
mean,
gonna
who
buy
are, if you're the Twins, do you just sell off your Reynolds? Like, I don't know. I mean, they have Josh Bell. I don't know who you would sell.
I mean, to me, like what the Twins could do, and they could pretty much do what the Rays did in 2018. They can sell maybe rentals. Obviously, the Rays trade Archer. That wasn't a rental. But sell your rentals. But also, if you want to add to your team, add younger guys with years of control. If they're not going to be too much of a prospect haul to acquire, I think that's a possibility. But assuming that's not going to happen, I would just sell the Reynolds and just keep your guys that are guaranteed to be there next year and maybe push a little bit more in the offseason. I just don't think this is a team that should buy, even though they're kind of right in it. So,
or if I'm the Twins, like I know they're a few games under, I take advantage of this market and I look for the best offers available for Joe Ryan, for Byron Buxton, for Ryan Jeffers. Like this is a deadline. If you're the Twins, they just traded everybody away. I understand that, but how much better did they get organizationally from a prospect return? Like even just trading one of them, if you get if the Yankees overpay for Ryan Jeffers, I'm trading him. Like I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean there's no catchers available at all.
If a team wants to overpay for Joe Ryan, I'm gonna trade Joe Ryan, right? Like I think if you're the Twins, like you got a lot of young talent. Like I think you continue to add, kind of like Jake Bill to what you were saying about the Red Sox. Like add to your young talent pipeline here, and take advantage of this market because we were talking. Who are the true sellers? I think Toronto's gonna sell. Kansas City, the Angels, the A's. The Mets, the Reds should sell off their Reynolds. Giants and Rockies, right? And the Padres should sell. That's like 7-8 teams, like for sure. And only of them, probably 5 or 6 for sure are gonna sell. And like I think the Twins, I think they're gonna get a lot of phone calls. Like if I'm blown away by an offer for even if Byron Buxton wants to return to Atlanta, not return, but go home to Atlanta. And the Braves offer a ton to Minnesota. Like, I'm going to do it with Byron Buxton's injury history and with the opportunity that it has.
He's the golden boy there, man. I mean, that's their franchise.
I'm just naming
I
all
agree.
their
I don't
players.
hate what you're saying.
Wouldn't you have to strongly consider that, like in this market? Like I just feel like.
And Buxton's hurt a ton too. That's also.
Yeah. Like with the Euron thing, like he could be out for the season next year or something for all we know. Like I hope it doesn't happen. I love watching Byron Buxton play, but you just never know with his health. And so if I'm the Angels, I know Mike Trout's lost a lot of value, but nobody's mentioning him at all. Like if the Phillies are desperate for a center fielder, what if Mike Trout went home, to Philadelphia, that area? And the Angels finally sold off Mike Trout if Mike Trout gave the green light for it. I think there's an opportunity for some of these teams that maybe are in between. The Angels are for sure sellers, but an opportunity to make a big splash and get a big haul back because a lot of teams are going to be desperate because there's so many potential buyers out there right now. So I'm very interested to see what this deadline. I think this deadline, honestly, for the most part, could be a clanker compared to what we've seen in the last couple of years, which has been like rapid fire trades and everything. Other than a Mason Miller trade,
there might be no baseball next year.
Right.
I think teams would be more aggressive one way or the other, but maybe not.
I think, they're saying that the Padres right now are more likely than not going to trade Mason Miller. That's what's been reported. And so that's like the one guy that
I don't think they're going to trade him. I don't think they're going to. I think they end up not trading him.
If they were smart, they would trade him.
Right.
That's so un-San Diegoan with Preller,
Well,
I don't know.
He's going to make a move. He's going to make moves. He's going to make transactions.
He loves to make moves. Yeah.
He does. He genuinely does.
But
I can't believe he's been the GM that long.
Yeah, I know. But
Preller's done all this for one playoff run where they made it to the NL Championship Series and lost to the Phillies. That's all.
What is an elite?
That's literally all.
His
What's
seat
an
should be
elite
in trouble.
bullpen gonna do for the Padres. What'd you
Yeah,
say,
no.
Peyton? I'm sorry.
They could trade their 4 best relievers and get a lot more than they realize.
Yeah.
Like,
Because that bullpen is elite. I mean, there's
What
some
good
dudes.
is it on that team? That team is so flawed outside of their bullpen. It's crazy. If you look
Right.
at their rotation
They
right
have
now,
they have no starting pitching.
Griffin
And that was
Canning
and
pitched
that's the
today.
thing. Like, people are like, Oneil, Cruz of the Padres. Dude, what the Padres want is starting pitching. They don't want another center fielder to go along with their already overpaid young center fielder. They don't want that.
Right.
Okay?
and their other overpaid right fielder.
And the Pirates, to me, they don't have starting pitching to give up because, in terms of the minor leagues, outside of Seth Hernandez, nobody else is coming up for the Pirates. The only guy you would consider trading because he's a pain in the ass and he wants to be a starter is Carmen Mlodzinski. So, I mean, maybe you
Noah
trade
House
Carmen
says that's a
Mlodzinski.
30% chance of happening.
Sure,
Trade Carmen Mlodzinski. I don't think that would be enough for Mason Miller. You have to
Mlodzinski
add
for
on
Miller,
more for
straight
that.
up.
But you could trade Carmen Mlodzinski for I think he's hurt, but I'll just throw his name out there. Jason Adam, right? Who's the other
Jason
guy
Adam.
they have in their
Morahone.
bullpen?
He's good.
Morahone. Yeah, trade Carmen Mlodzinski for him.
Yeah.
Is he a free agent?
Yeah, I think he has a couple of years.
I'm gonna look up the Padres.
I was looking at
Oh,
teams.
he's a lefty. We need right-handed arms.
Yeah.
We need right-handed arms.
I was looking at teams, and I was looking at the Blue Jays because I was seeing because they have Tyler Rogers this year.
Oh,
I was
Morahone's
like,
a
oh.
free agent next year.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Well, I was looking at teams, and Tyler Rogers, I thought he was a free agent at the end of the year. He would be like a great addition as long as Churn didn't overpay. But he signed a 3-year, $37 million deal with Toronto in the offseason. I did not realize that. Because it seems like he's always a free agent. He's always like a rental. But he signed a long-term deal. And there's just not too many options when you're looking at right now with clear sellers and bullpen. But there are enough for Charrington and everything. And it'll be interesting to see what, in the National League side, what Washington does. I think they're going to do a little bit of both. I don't think they might buy, a very cost-controlled bullpen arm because their bullpen's somehow even worse than the Pirates. Miami, what does Miami do? I don't think you can trade Sandy, but they've lost nine in a row.
They've lost nine. They were in the driver's seat there, and now they've
10
lost
games
9 in a
over.
row.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The Cardinals.
They've just been
don't forget-
so on and off. Cardinals can't be buying, that's for sure. They can't be buying. They've had a positive year, but that's not a team that should buy. Arizona, I
Right.
mean, they're 5 games over 500 now.
They should buy.
I think they gotta buy. You have
they gotta
Corbin
get
Carroll.
rotation.
You have
I
Cattell
agree.
Marte. Get some pitching.
It's crazy. Like, who would have thought going into the season the Diamondbacks would have given up 40 fewer runs than the Pirates have? 100+ games in the season.
Especially knowing Burns was going to be out the
And-
whole year.
And Gallen has been bad again this year. Merrill Kelly has an ERA over 5, and their bullpen's been whatever, right? It's
They're getting
been
carried
weird
by
for
Eduardo
Arizona.
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez has been great. I mean,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
yeah.
But his underlying, it's like he's got to regress at some point. I know his last outing, he gave up those 7 runs to the Cardinals, but he's been spectacular. But I think Arizona, they got to look at bullpen. But their offense, the Pirates have been much better somehow than Diamondbacks. It's been a complete reversal of what we thought going into the season with some of these teams. But I do think, again, like we talked a couple weeks ago about the playoff picture, and we were like, okay, at this point Miami was like 4 or 5 games ahead of the Pirates, like they'd been 10 games over, and we're like, I think it's going to be a battle. We said between Miami and the Pirates. Well, now Miami's starting rotation, Max Myers on the injured list, and they're putting Tyler Phillips in the rotation. Their bullpen's regressing. Like, it feels, and they haven't hit at all. recently. It feels like now it's shifted to kind of Arizona versus the Pirates. And I think the Pirates are better. But I think it's cleared up a little bit, the wild card picture the last couple weeks. St. Louis has fallen back to the pack like we mentioned. Miami's really fallen back. San Diego's not a serious team. Washington's going to be there, I think, the whole way. But I think as long as you're at least 5-6 games over, like, they're not going to be there. They'll be, 81 and 81, somewhere around there, I think.
Because that offense is just so good.
But their pitching
it
balances out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, again, it's a huge opportunity for the Pirates. And the Phillies, it feels like they should be winning the division right now.
They just have that veteran pedigree. They just know how to win. And they have a manager who knows how to win.
Like, I think, if I'm Philadelphia, like, they got to start playing better again because they had a terrible series against the Dodgers. Terrible fundamentals. The Dodger broadcast.
JT Realmuto, bro.
Yeah,
that guy is cooked. Holy crap, man.
Bryson Stott, yesterday's game, there was a ground ball. Stott was on second. It was a ground ball to third, and Stott was running to third base, and they just
he wasn't forced.
No, he was literally. It was like kind of like it was kind of like they move the runner to third, but it was they pulled the ball, to the left side of the infield, and Stott was running. And Joe Davis is like, what are they doing?
He got more All-Star votes than Brandon Lowe at second base. That's crazy.
So the Phillies, the Phillies lost 2-3 to the Dodgers. I saw this tweet, and the Phillies literally started Wheeler and Sanchez, and the Dodgers didn't start. It was Robleski and then two. I don't even remember who they. Sheehan and whatever. Like, the Phillies have got to get their act together a little bit too, because I think. If they have a negative 15 like we talked about, they've just won a lot of close games. And, it feels like if the Pirates just would kick it into another gear, like, they'd be right there.
And they should.
Yeah. But
it shouldn't be this stressful to get in the playoffs.
Right.
With the roster they have.
But I do think as of now, like, they're the slight favorites. Like, if I had to pick a team that was going to make it, I think I would pick the Pirates right now. But we've been saying that for a while, and they haven't separated themselves. And so, at some point,
it just feels like this management is going to find a way to blow it. And they're going to be an 82-win team like we said all along somehow. In spite of all the talent that's come up and done well on the offensive side.
Anything else, guys?
It's going to depend a lot on Paul Skeens. If Paul Skeens is, I still, he's been better, but I don't think that he's still where he needs to be.
Yeah. The rotation as a whole. Story. The rotation as a whole, I think, will be better the second half, especially with some reinforcements that doesn't keep the pressure on them, knowing that the bullpen could easily slip things away. Like, they had bullpen reinforcement. I think the Pirates rotation, with them continuing to turn a corner like we think they are, will be even better with that. So I'm very excited to see these guys work. So.
Hey, but you know what? The rotation can be amazing, but if Don Kelly keeps saying, hey, Bubba, you could go down and eat a cookie and wrap that arm up, buddy. If we keep doing that every one of our young pitchers, it's not going to matter because we're relying on this bullpen.
Yeah.
Anything
I don't
else,
mean to be
guys?
a Debbie Downer, but I can't get over what happened yesterday.
Fireproof, you got anything else you want to get off your chest? You've gotten a lot off your chest today.
I'm good. I feel much better today.
Where will LeBron James sign? That's the big question on everyone's mind.
Well, I did find out some breaking news, actually. LeBron is going to announce when he signs before his retirement.
Whoa.
That's incredible insight from resident, I don't even know, Pirate Peyton. What a job there.
I'm rooting for the Heat, man. I want to see him go back to the Heat. I think the Sixers make sense because of the talent on that team. But again, do I really want to see Philadelphia succeed? No. Cleveland, they're a conference final, ceiling. They're not. That's not a championship contender. He's not gonna. Him and James Harden is not gonna work.
That'd be
Okay,
funny though.
and then
That would be.
Golden State would be fun, but you can't.
That would be
win
the
a
whole old
championship
man
there.
fest. That Warriors team.
Yeah. We got to talk about this, guys, before we leave. Pat Narduzzi
Oh,
has said that
can we not end the podcast on a bad note? Do we need to? I don't have to think about him for another month. Can we
The
just
Big
not
Ten
mention
is
his
better-
name for one more month?
the ACC's better than the Big Ten. Pat Narduzzi, he always got to say something. He's always just saying stuff at these
Right.
media days. It's always funny. And I just want to mention that because I want to get
That's
a
all
reaction.
he does.
Hey, this better be a good season here. Look at that schedule. I tell
Yeah.
you what,
You would think.
yeah. And so, hey, it's closer than you think. College football, I'm very excited. SEC, the SEC is going to break away from the NCAA apparently, which is tremendous. They haven't won a national championship in 3 years. They're like, it runs. I love the SEC, but I'm an SEC. I'm a big brands guy, but they're like, college football runs through the SEC. The last 3 college football playoff championship games haven't even featured the SEC, which is crazy to think about. But anyway, I'm just rambling now. I was just
Yeah,
trying to.
nobody's
yeah.
watching right now, Nate. We need to.
Nobody was watching
I'm
20
getting
minutes
a death
ago.
stare right now through the door because I was supposed to eat dinner like a half hour ago, and I haven't
All
eaten
right.
anything. But
Well, you
it'll
were-
be there. It's okay. It's
Well,
not. It's my fault too. So we're
You
good.
had a lot to say today. We kind
I
of
always
just
have a lot
stepped
to
back
say.
after your banning. We just kind of sat back and let you ramble about everything with the Pirates, and you did a good job as always.
It was a okay job. It wasn't my best, but
Well, hey, nobody's perfect 100% of the time.
Jake
right?
Bell's got to get up at 5:30 a.m.
Oh yeah.
He's exhausted.
Yeah.
It's
Big
okay.
Bill.
I'll be singing in the car, and I'll wake myself up. Okay.
I want to see Jake Bell singing in the car.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone would. No one will though. But
All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Episode 80. We are family. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, follow us on our social medias, on Instagram, TikTok, and X. And we'll see you next time. A lot of trade deadline stuff, even more coming up here. So make sure you stay tuned in. August 3rd, trade deadline. We're going to have our live stream. And we're much looking forward to that. Some guests, some incredible guests, potentially.
We got to start
And,
lining them up here.
We're lining up the guests, the A-listers who are ready to appear. And so,
It's a play on the pun there of who might be coming on. Hey,
that was
yeah.
not at all intentional. But we are very much looking forward to that. So, anyway, thank you everyone for listening and tuning in, and we'll see you next time.